All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Racha, Kodash, a double honors to your apostles and Elder Zechariah Millstone. This lesson, I'm going to pretty much the post, well, now I won't say post scarcity, but I'll just say the scarcity of resources to come. One of those resources is water, which is the most vital, um, element that you can use for sustenance. And what you have here is here in the Midwest, you have the Great Lakes, and the Great Lakes pretty much it sustains millions of people, you know, all across the United States. One thing that you should note is that it's one of the main lakes, body of lakes that help sustain life. Uh, you know, every continent has a great lake, which helps in sustain life. Um, and really, lakes are strategically put in certain places to help sustain life. You know, um, and I'm speaking on how the Most High Yahweh has created the earth and formed the earth. Um, Only so the the people that or the humans that inhabit the earth can sustain themselves. But as you can see, living in 2017, sustainability has pretty much dropped at an all-time low. People just don't know about it. And when you go into it, as far as the truth concerning the pureness of water, or whether it be air, whether it be food, you find out that these resources that we use to sustain ourselves are pretty much being exploited, uh, pretty much being destroyed. Some deliberately, some unintentionally, but regardless or not, it's the lack of the overseeing, the lack of care of life, the lack of respect towards you know your fellow human race, or whatever, however you want to say it. But here in America, you have this company, a Canadian company, which I think is in, I forget the name of it, but I'm gonna play just a minute and 15 seconds of this documentary, which is a short documentary, is a good documentary, um, and it's gonna get into pretty much a lot of the cover-ups and things that they don't want the citizens to know, uh, probably because of mass hysteria. They're trying to avoid that, but it really it really is worse when you wait too long to say something about it. But you're dealing with the devil, the so-called white man, which they own everything. The earth is given into their hands. These major corporations, these billion-dollar corporations, they own them, and for the most part, they don't oversee them. They can care less what they do to the earth. So I'm gonna just get into it, and Salaki for being long-winded, but here you go.
We were completely shocked to find out that there was a pipeline actually lying at the bottom of the Straits of Mackinac. The iconic image of the Great Lakes in Michigan, almost directly underneath it, there's this ticking time bomb.
I can't imagine a worse place for an oil spill to happen in the Great Lakes. The oil would spread faster, further, and impact more miles of shoreline than any place else.
A lot of these reports are very misleading, and they are not entirely accurate. The notion that a company like Enbridge would not maintain a line is just atrocious. It's quite false.
oil pipelines. You can't see them, but 2.5 million miles of steel spiderwebs its way across America. They run beneath our lakes, rivers, and wetlands in over 18,000 places. And you never really hear about them until they spill.
So right below us, you can see the boom deployments in the Indian River.
Alright, so I'm going to stop right there. Man, just to give you a summary, just you can watch this, documentary on Motherboard. I think it's an offshoot of, I forget the Vice. But hey, the point being is that, like you mentioned, you have thousands of oil pipelines running underneath America, and they corrode, and it's devastating to life, to plant life, you know. So, and you wonder why, uh, you know, um, in the agriculture world, things don't grow to the fullest potential. And then when you do the research on the drinking or the contaminated water with different levels of lead or other chemicals that's in the water, I can't think of any other. But when you do your research, you find out that the drinking water, for the most part, is very volatile. It's very high when it comes to the levels of contamination. So, and that's it's alarming. You know, it's pretty much devastating. But it shows you that more and more that we're living in hell. And America is not that place of uh, you know you know which I always say they basically, this is their kingdom of heaven. This is not the greatest place on earth. You know, it's part of the worst places that ever took part in history. You know, um, being that this place is brought up in lies and all sorts of you know evil things and ill things that they don't we can't discover for the lack of transparency on the leader's part. But hey, the Lord is revealing it because the time is now where I'll get the scripture where the scriptures say um, truth shall spring from the earth. You know, the time is now. Uh, the time is now more than ever. You know, and the scriptures say it's high time to wake out of sleep because these are the things that's going to devastate people in a very near future, which people are ignoring right now. Psalms 85 and 11: truth shall spring out of the earth, and righteousness shall look down from heaven. Hey, the truth is here, man. The spirit of truth is upon it. The Lord's men, the men of the Lord, and for the most part, they're we are pushing the truth. You know. All right, so we'll go ahead and get the scripture, Second Esdras 16 and 17. And, for the most part, I've been bringing this out a little bit more frequently because Ezra, seen the visions and he was warned about things that's going to be taking place in this future, in our time. Okay, a lot of people think it's far off. It's very near. The time of reckoning and judgment and destruction is near. So this is his standpoint on what he's seen. This is Second Esdras chapter 16, verses 17. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? All right, woe, old English for destruction. So he's pretty much overwhelmed by what he's seeing. You know, so the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, and the beginning of evils, as if evil ain't exist already. So he's talking about a time that basically we're living in, that we're going to see more ill, because that's all it means. Eve, meaning time, and ill, meaning bad. Apostle brought that out a long time ago. But these times that we're heading in, they're going to be devastating. It's going to be devastating. People are going to die by the thousands. You know, and it's pretty much going to take hold on everybody in the world. You know, and these are the signs of the coming of Yahweh Shai. His second and final coming, because he's going to establish his kingdom. All right, which people don't want to believe because they think it's far fetched. But when the time comes, it's going to be way far beyond what they expected. So continue. It says, "What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague. All right, tribulation and anguish, sent as scourges for a minute." All right, and why is it sent as scourges for a minute? Because people on earth are evil, man. You know, the plague, part of that, the oil spill is nothing more than a plague. All right, contaminating the waters. And people don't know this simple, basic understanding. But look, here we go. I think this is, I'm not sure, Daily Mail. It might be the UK. But, look at this article. It said nearly 30 million Americans are drinking dangerous, contaminated tap water linked to cancer, birth defects, and lead poisoning. All right, 15% of people in the United States have dangerous contaminated tap water in their homes, as you've seen in Michigan not too long ago, and it happened. Here you had some cases where the water was contaminated due to the lack of maintenance when it comes to the pipelines. So the metal which they've used as pipelines to distribute the water throughout the rural the areas, they slowly deteriorate. All right, they rust away, and thus they contaminate the water. Now, if there was maintenance, or them keeping up on the maintenance of the pipelines, then you wouldn't see have these things happening. But it's not in their hands. It's a lack of how can I say? I want to use the word responsibility, but that's what it is. It's a lack of responsibility because you're dealing with the devil. You're dealing with the so-called white man. So everywhere they go is they're the border of wickedness. All right. So everywhere they go, they bring wickedness. They do ill to the land. They destroy the land. All right. According to Malachi 1:4. All right. And that's why they have to be taken out of the way, because they're crooked, perverse people. All right. They don't care anything about anybody's well-being except for their own. All right. That's why they don't care. You got white nationalists that don't care about the rape, robbing, murdering of native tribes and you so-called blacks, Negroes, and Mexicans. All right. Which y'all the children of Israel, the lost tribes. All right. So I'm gonna read a little bit more, and then I'm gonna go back into the scriptures, and then I'm gonna close out. Since all 50 states have water systems that violate the Environmental Protection Agency's safe drinking water. Now you think they would roll on these actions or be more diligent when it comes to keeping these violations from happening, but they're not. They continue to get their money, because that's all it's about with the so-called white man is gain money through his industries. The scriptures speak on the root of evil. I mean, what a love of money is the root of evil, or roughly paraphrased. But as you know that basic principle, you start to realize like how much evil and peril that people are facing, you know. But like I said, you know, which I should have mentioned, that these are all the judgments of the Lord. America corroding the way it is, that's part of the Lord's judgment upon this place. Let me see. I think that might be Isaiah 47. All right. All right. So it pretty much speaks about the corroding. But yeah, Isaiah 47, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon, which is Edom. Alright, Edom, Esau, the so-called white man, is the daughter of Babylon, right? The virgin daughter of Babylon. It says, sit on the ground, there is no torment, O daughter of the Chaldeans, alright? Because if you know about the Chaldeans, they dealt in witchcraft, which America was established on witchcraft, okay? For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Being untouched, all right, soft, untouched, you know, and that's how people looked at this land, America, you know, as you know, fertile crescent, basically, you know. So for verse 2, take the millstones and grind milk and cover the locks, make bare the leg and cover thy thighs and pass over the rivers, all right. And you know that as their prosperity, pretty much their jobs and all of that, because that's what brings in the sustenance. You know, the system that we live in, the current currency that we use is RFN notes, which is a fiat currency, which is a fake currency, and they can print off, you know, unlimited cash, you know, and pretty much continue a fraudulent system, you know. These are the jobs. The jobs have left this place, you know. So, verse 3: thy nakedness shall be uncovered; yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. This is yet to come, all right? Because he's not going to meet you, you know, with as a mortal man, a fleshly man, all right? He's going to be he's going to meet Esau, because Esau has a military, a whole military-industrial complex. Not only that, but the military of the world, the militaries of the world will join together to fight against him, right? But not to take from the actual, you know, that's part of the point. But thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. This is part of their nakedness, you know. This is part of that shame, you know, the deliberate or unintentional contaminating and destroying of the earth. You know, water is the most vital, essential thing you can have. You know, sustainability. All right. You know, first and foremost, man, Esau is just negligent. You know, they're crooked people. They're perverse people. Like I said, they don't care about the earth, right? If they did, it wouldn't be in the condition that it's in right now. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet it as a man. So he's going to come as an angelic power to take down the so-called white man, because they will fight against the Lord, and they have the technology and the weaponry that they're advancing. You know, where they have their little bases off, you know, offshore. Working on technology, new technologies, unseen weaponry that we don't know about, plasma rifles and all of that, you know, just to fight against the Lord, you know. They're gonna need it, but it's not gonna help at all, right? Because nothing is above the Creator, you know. He's as good as it gets. He's infinite, all right, immortal. We will see, okay, in time to come. As for our Redeemer, Lord, which He's coming back to help us. All right, so the Lord of Hosts is His name, the Holy One of Israel. Sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, America, O daughter of the Chaldeans, America. For thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms, and America is the Lady of Kingdoms. All right, she is the top country in the world. Okay. When it comes to, we know, when it comes to education and all, all of that, America is not the top, but it's propagated as the top nation in the world because you can do anything you want here in America. You can marry a man can marry a man, a woman can marry a woman. You can change your sex. You can have sex with animals. You can curse God. You can worship Satan. Um, you can do all type of things here in America. Which they're very unsavory, but that's the way of this world. That's the way of how Esau, as the so-called white man, has built this system of that. All right. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Yeah, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance. I will not move thee as a man. As for our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts is his name. Holy One of Israel, sit thou silent. Get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. I was wroth with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance. I have given them into thine hand. All right. So what does that mean? That means the children of Israel was put into slavery. All right. Okay. And we know they're trying to say America's not Babylon. Okay. Which would defeat the purpose of our actual the truth behind our actual condition. Because by Esau being a daughter or virgin daughter of Babylon, it further shows us that that the scriptures pretty much coming to life, and it's telling us that we're given into their hands, and based on this just alone, man, it speaks volumes because the daughter we're still under the captivity of the so-called white man, which we see now today. You can't move, you can't do anything without the so-called white man knowing about it. All right. It says, thou didst shew them no mercy, slavery. All right. And then they set up their institutions to systematically cut us off. Upon the ancient as thou verily heavily laid thy yoke. And we got countless, how can I say, countless evidence, against them, how they treated the nation of Israel. All right. So I think I want the scripture where it basically said, I kind of drawn that one out a little bit too much, but I want the scripture where it says, I think they should see corruption, and it basically talking about the infrastructure of America being corroded. Oh, the worms shall cover them. Let me see if I can find it, make that point, and then I'm gonna read this last scripture. Yeah, so it's not. Let me see if I can. Oh, here we go. Isaiah 14. Most part. Isaiah 14. 14 and 11. I don't know how I missed this one. Isaiah 14:11. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows, the worm is spread under thee. Hey, look at that. He was just explaining how America has so many pipelines. Look at that. The worms are spread under thee. Those pipelines corrode after a while. They rust and they corrode. Okay, which leads to corruption, right? Corrosion, deterioration, right? poison. All right. The worms spread under thee, and the worms covered thee. All right. So imagine that. You know. So America is from the bottom up is being corroded. You know. This place is really, it really needs to be cleansed, man. And that's when those missiles hit this place. It's gonna, for the most part, it's gonna dig up the land. It's gonna consume everything. That fire's gonna consume everything. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the moon? How art thou come cut down to the ground? It's talking about the so-called white man. Lucifer meaning the light bearer. Those that have the truth, that know the truth and have the knowledge. That's why they call themselves the Illuminati. Because they lie to each other. They lie to each other to keep each other on a need-to-know basis. So that's the whole myth of being part of the Illuminati. Or if you're third degree Mason, it's all built on deceit. So I'm gonna read this last scripture. And like I said, look at the documentary. It's good. Just more information coming out on the devastation that this place has to face in these end times. Especially when it comes to one of the main sources, water being destroyed by the so-called white man. Revelation 11:18, and the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, all right, that they should be judged, meaning the other nations, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. All right, so that's what you Edomites have coming, those that be in rulership. All right, because we're not worried about you. You're regular people, but for the most part, these leaders, man, they're gonna be held accountable. They're being held accountable for everything that they're doing. All right, they're supposed to keep the earth, and help replenish the earth, not destroy it. But with that, I'm going to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Kodash, a double honor to the apostles and others at Great Millstone, a shalom.